Right from the day one, the website information or having spoken to the Peter, it was clear what I'm getting into, and I can say I'm not disappointed. Nearly 12 months down the line, it delivered what it promised, and as I said, it's a lot more flexibility for the doctors, and you're your own boss. In the way you practice medicine on a day-to-day basis. The model in Australia is very different, where you're an independent contractor, which means you work hard, you make more money, to be put it bluntly, and if you, on the other hand, if you want to take a relaxed approach, the option is there. So there's a lot of flexibility. When I have to go to my son's school, I can block 3 hours, and equally I can come back in the evening and open the clinic from 6 to 9, so to cover up for the days. One of the things which attracted to join this group is the lack of contracts, because even though the situation where you have to get out, there is clause to get out from any other contracts, but it's still a contract at the end of the day. Whereas when you have an assurance, there's no contract, no contract. If you like, you stay. If you don't like, you can move. That just gives you a reassurance that yes, why not try? For when I looked for practices, not on Australia, as I mentioned earlier, visited Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, and Canberra. Accidentally visited Canberra, by the way. But what particularly liked about this practice is the lack of contract. And again, I wasn't making this as a permanent move initially, because I was settled in UK for nearly 15, 16 years. So I really wanted to test the waters, to see how it goes. So my initial plan was to come here for 6 months, and so I came alone initially. I didn't come with a family. My family was still in the UK, and then once I convinced myself this is the way to go, so they moved here. So yeah, it gives the UK doctors who's not sure whether to commit themselves for 2 to 3 years into a contract, and having a restricted hours of covering the weekends. This would be a ideal a model for them, where there's no obligation to cover the weekends. If they want to choose, they do. If they don't, there's no obligation to do evenings. If they want, they do. Yes, in a UK model, you work as a team, and the earnings has got a ceiling, how much you earn as such. And so you could be working hard in the benefit of the patients, which we all do, which we should do, but it would be nicer if you are remunerated for that extra work you put in. Whereas in Australian model, as I said, sky is the limit. So you see more patients, more hours, you make more money. Equally, if you want to be much more flexible, especially for women, if they want to work less hours, looking after their children, and there's an option there. So that's a key, especially for who've got a young family. That might be an attractive, from the business perspective, it's quite lucrative, and from the doctor's perspective, you don't have to worry about whether the patient is going to walk through the doors. Right from day one, and my list was completely put. At the moment, my 70% of the patients I see are regular patients, and who have actually transferred their notes to me as a regular GP. So my only advice to the doctors is, the culture is different. Even though, the same English language is spoken, the culture is different, the country is different, the weather is different. So I think that's what they got to try out. They got to try that. So it's the life outside the practice. If they had a reasonable experience and reasonable confidence in the medicine they practice, I don't think there'll be any issue fitting in with the Australian model. 90 to 95% will fit in easily. It would seem like a 6 to 12 months, but once you land here, you're up and running within 2 to 3 weeks time. So it makes a huge difference. It's worth the visit, and what you see is what you get. So there's no skeletons in the cupboard. That's all. And it's where if new doctors are coming in, there's no lock-in period, so you can always try for 3 months or 6 months, or do a short visit, which I did. I did come into the practice, saw the rooms, reasonable sized rooms to have a decent practice. So and if you like it, give it a go. As far as I'm concerned, this is what I saw and that's what I'm experiencing. So I'm happy with what I got. Yeah.